Jill, Sandy, and Maeve went to the same school as I did. I first met them when I was on my way out of the principal's office after I'd been caught skipping classes, and they were on their way to visit their father. I nodded at the three, a bit embarrassed to be seen coming out of the principal's office. Once again. Little did I know that small gesture was going to be the spark that was going to light the forest fire that was my senior year of high school. Hi, I'm Ben, and this is the story of how I ended up dating our principal's daughters. But before anything else, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to show your support for me. I wasn't popular in high school. Not at all. I was just an average student and I didn't even play any sports. I wasn't a cool geek either. I pretty much just kept to myself, only having a couple of friends that I really hung out with. I was virtually invisible. So I couldn't imagine how any girl would be interested in getting to know me at the time. Much less 3 of them. The sisters were popular. Not a surprise, being that they were the daughters of the man who ran the school. I hadn't even spoken a word. Hey, Ben, said Toby when he caught up to me at the loggers. Guess what just happened? There are a million things that could have happened between lunch break and now, Toby, I said. How am I supposed to guess what you're about to say? Jeez, what's with you today? Just get to the point, Tobes, I said. Maeve came up to me during lab, and she asked for your number, he told me. Maeve who? I said, staring blankly at my friend. Maeve? Dude, there's only one Maeve in our school, Ben. Keep up. How am I supposed to know the entire student population, Toby? And why'd she ask for my number? I asked. Toby smacked the side of my head with his palm. Doesn't matter why, does it? A girl asked for your number. Eye on the prize, Captain. Maybe you'll finally get yourself a girlfriend, eh? I hit Toby squarely in the stomach with my bag, and then we walked home. I was a bit caught off guard, to be honest. No girls ever asked for my number before. But it felt good. Maybe Toby's right, I thought. Would be nice to have a girlfriend. Be even nicer to finally hang out with boys and not be the only one who doesn't have a date, though. So, that night, I was glued to my phone. I eagerly awaited Maeve's text. I mean, maybe I was being presumptuous. Maybe she just wanted my number so that I could help her out with homework or something. But then, I remembered that my grades weren't in any way exceptional. I was lying in bed, staring up at my phone, and lost in hypotheticals, when it finally buzzed. I was so startled that I dropped the thing on my face. It was like getting hit with a brick. As I rubbed my nose and shook the pain away, I squinted at the notification. It was Maeve. Hi, said her message. Hi, I said back. Got your number from Toby. Hope I didn't wake you. Yeah, I heard. Nah, you're good. Sup? Want to meet up at the dinner after school tomorrow? She asked. My heart began to beat fast. Wow. Did a girl just ask me out? Okay. Reel it in. Oh, okay. It's probably not a date. Like, on a date or something? I asked. She sent me 3 laughing emojis, and as I stared at those 3 dots that told me she was typing her response, the anticipation was so unbearable, I almost had a panic attack. Why did I ask her that? Why did I assume she wanted to go on a date? She laughed at me. I was so scared of seeing what she had to say next that I closed my eyes and put my phone down. But then, it buzzed again. I put the screen up to my face and read her reply. Yeah, like on a date, silly. Oh, my heart soared. I didn't care why or how. A girl wanted to go out with me. And that was already a win in my book. I could never have asked a girl myself. I didn't even go to prom because I was too chicken about getting rejected. But now I was going on a date. With Maeve, no less. Oh, I punched the air in celebration like the loser that I was. Hey, it's cringe as heck, but I was genuinely happy that someone was interested in me. The next day, I could barely pay attention to anything else that happened around me. All I could think of was Maeve. All I wanted to do was just get through the day so I could rush to my date. As soon as the bell rang, I booked it, and I was hastily cramming my books into my bag as I ran through the school gates towards the other side of the road when a car almost bumped me. "Look where you're going!" I yelled at the car, despite being the one who wasn't looking at all. That was when I saw who was driving. It was Jill. Sandy was in the passenger seat, and in the back was Maeve. She waved at me. And then Jill said, "Get in, loser. We're going to the diner." I did a mental facepalm. Oh, I honestly believed that Maeve and I were going on a date. How stupid was that? Of course she didn't want to go out with me. She's one of the popular kids, and I'm just some guy. But as I got into the backseat with Maeve, Sandy spoke up. "You excited for our date, Ben?" she said. I wasn't sure I heard her right. So I just stared at her with my mouth hanging open. "He is excited for our date," said Maeve as she took my arm. "I asked him first." What? I said stupidly. "You can't call dibs on people, Maeve. Besides, I saw him first," said Jill as she began to drive. I think my brain broke after that, as whatever else was said during that car ride was a blur to me. The next time I regained consciousness, I was already seated in one of the diner's booths, and Jill was clicking her fingers in front of my face. Hey, she said. "Hey, Ben. Earth to Ben. You in there?" Yeah, sorry, I said as I heard the Windows startup sound as my brain booted back up. "Thought we lost you there, bud," said Jill. "What do you want to get, hon?" said the waitress, who was violently chewing on her gum as she impatiently waited to jot down my order. Just a burger, thanks," I said, smiling at her. "Oh, and OJ." The girls got triple-deckers. As I marveled at their ability to eat thrice as much as me, Maeve slid closer to me and whispered into my ear. "So, who would you rather have as a girlfriend? Me, Sandy, or Jill?" she asked. I proceeded to choke on my burger. And if Jill hadn't struck me solidly in the back, I imagine I would have died right there. As I sputtered and struggled to down my entire glass of orange juice, I said to Maeve, "Sorry, what? Who'd you rather date between the three of us?" she asked again. I could hardly believe my ears. And turned out, the words that came out of my mouth in response were even more unbelievable. I couldn't, to this day, figure out what came over me when I said, "All three of you?" Maybe it was the stress of being surrounded by beautiful, popular girls who were clearly attracted to me. I couldn't even handle one properly. But three? I was about to apologize and make it sound like I was just kidding despite my deadpan delivery when Sandy grabbed my phone off the table and said, "Deal," and proceeded to save her number. Sandy and Maeve said the same. It was like I was living in some sort of anime. Did I somehow get teleported into some alternate timeline, and now everything I wanted to happen happened? I tested out that theory by thinking that I wanted a turkey dinner to fall from the ceiling. And when it didn't happen, I became more confused. Is this real life? I thought. "You're drifting off again," I heard Maeve say. Sorry, I said as I turned to her. The following months flew by as I juggled my time with the three sisters. Most of the time, we would all hang out together. But sometimes, I had to find the time to spend time with them individually when their schedules didn't line up. Jill always wanted to go to the arcade. Sandy loved it when I took her to restaurants, and Maeve preferred going to the movies. I only ever really told my best friends Toby and Phil. And I guess as a consequence, their girlfriends too. Luckily, they knew how to keep a secret. I couldn't even imagine what kind of trouble I'd get into if the news spread at school. Especially if it reached the principal. Oh, I'd be dead for sure. In the meantime, I enjoyed the fact that wherever Toby, Phil, and I would hang out on the weekends, I was no longer the only single one. And I even managed to one-up them by having 3 girlfriends. I was definitely living the life. But then, one day, our principal passed me in the hallway. I'd been deliberately avoiding running into him for weeks in case he'd gotten word of what me and her daughters have been up to. But I figured it'd happen eventually. So I gulped my nerves down and stood as straight as I could, preparing myself for the tirade that was about to come. Instead, our principal patted me on the shoulders and winked at me.
Haven't seen you in my office in a while, Mr. Patterson. Keep that up and you just might graduate. Ha ha ha!
I blinked a couple of times. Was my luck ever gonna run out? Then Mr. Briggs let out a cough before he continued.
I heard you're seeing my daughter.
Oh, crap! I thought. But then I replayed what he just said. Daughter. Not daughters. He had no idea. Somehow, I managed to smile as I looked up at him and said, yes, sir. He put his hand on my shoulder and said,
You best make sure you don't do anything to hurt her, son, or I'll make life a nightmare for you. Ha ha ha, my boy.
He laughed and then said he was just kidding. But as he walked away and off to his office, I had a sinking feeling that he wasn't joking at all. If he was that worried after learning I was dating one of his daughters, would I even be alive if he found out I was going out with all 3? I was about to have a full-blown meltdown when Toby and Phil grabbed me from the middle of the corridor and pulled me into one of the empty classrooms. They'd seen the whole interaction.
What did he want?
Asked Phil. But the empty, dead look on my face told him all he needed to know. I'm dead, I told my friends. I am so dead. I made sure every time the girls and I went out, we'd only go when Principal Briggs was busy elsewhere. And we'd only go to places I was certain he would never go. But the thought of him finding out always haunted me. It was just a matter of time. Oh, what should I do?